Most people think the Apple AirTag is the gold standard for tracking. They are wrong. If you own a Samsung phone, the SmartTag2 isn't just an alternative. It is objectively superior in almost every metric that matters. But there is a catch, and it's a massive one that might force you to return this little gadget the second you open the box. We are going to tear this thing apart, drown it, and test it against the biggest tracking networks on Earth to see if Samsung has finally built the ultimate peace of mind. Or just another piece of e-waste. Let's get the design out of the way first, because Samsung actually listened to us. The original SmartTag was a chunky, awkward square that looked like it belonged on a 90s keychain. The SmartTag2 is completely different. It's elongated, pill-shaped, and most importantly, it has a metal-reinforced loop built right into the frame. This seems small, but it's a direct shot at Apple. With an AirTag, you have to buy a separate $30 dongle just to attach it to your keys. That is a hidden tax. With the SmartTag2, it is ready to go out of the box. You snap it onto your keyring, your carabiner, or even your dog's collar without needing extra accessories. The plastic feels dense, matte, and premium. Though I have noticed after a week of being in my pocket with jagged keys, it does scuff easier than I'd like. It won't break, but it won't look pristine for long. Now, let's talk about the setup. It is suspiciously easy. You pull the battery tab, and if your Galaxy phone is nearby, a pop-up appears instantly. It feels like magic. But this brings us to the core technology that separates this from the cheap trackers you see on Amazon, Ultra-Wideband, or UWB. Most trackers use Bluetooth signal strength to guess how close you are. It's like playing a game of hot or cold. It's frustrating and inaccurate. The SmartTag2 uses UWB to create a literal compass on your phone screen. I tested this in the most chaotic environment possible, a cluttered garage. I buried the tag inside a toolbox under heavy equipment. With a standard Bluetooth tracker, I'd be walking in circles. With the SmartTag2, my S24 Ultra brought up the search nearby interface. It didn't just say, "It's here." It gave me a green arrow, a distance counter down to the inch, and guided me directly to the drawer. When I got within a foot, the camera view popped up, overlaying AR dots on the real world to show exactly where the tag was hiding. This isn't a gimmick. It is a superpower for the disorganized. However, this feature only works if you have a Samsung flagship. If you are using a budget series phone or an older model without a UWB chip, you are stuck with basic Bluetooth finding. Know your hardware before you buy. Let's move to the real-world lost mode test. Short-range finding is easy. The real nightmare is leaving your bag in a coffee shop or having your bike stolen. This is where the Galaxy Find network comes into play. I gave the tag to a friend and had them drive across the city, eventually hiding it in a public park bench. I sat back and watched the map. Here is the reality of the network. It is massive. Every time a Samsung phone passed by that bench of on, if the owner didn't know it, pinged the location of my tag to the server. In a dense urban area, I was getting updates every 4 to 6 minutes. That is AirTag level accuracy. It obliterates Tile, which relies on people actually having the Tile app open. Samsung has quietly built a billion-device dragnet that makes losing things nearly impossible in a city. If you live in a rural area, however, your mileage will vary. Cows don't carry Galaxy phones. But here is the freshness gap, the feature nobody is talking about. The SmartTag2 isn't just a tracker. It is a remote control for your smart home. There is a button on the tag. You can program this button in the SmartThings app. I have mine set up so that a single press turns on my porch lights. A long press triggers my I'm home routine, which unlocks the smart lock and turns on the AC. Think about the utility here. You can give this to a kid or an elderly parent, and they have a physical panic button or a way to control the house without needing a smartphone. This turns a $30 tracker into a $30 smart home switch. That is value you simply do not get with Apple. Let's talk about the battery, because Samsung made a bold claim here. They say it lasts up to 500 days or 700 days in power-saving mode. That is nearly 2 years. Obviously, I haven't been testing this for 2 years, but I have been monitoring the voltage drain. Even with heavy testing, the needle hasn't moved. The power-saving mode is smart, shuts down the UWB constantly scanning when not in use, but frankly, even the standard 500 days is enough to set it and forget it. And when it does die, uses a standard CR2032 battery. You pop the tray open with a pin, swap it, and you're good. No planned obsolescence here. Durability is another win. It is IP67 rated. I dropped this thing in a glass of water and left it there for 30 minutes. I took it out, dried it off, and pinged it. It rang instantly. Then, I took it to the beach. I buried it in the sand. The speaker grills are designed in a way that makes it hard for grit to get stuck inside. If you are putting this on a dog that loves to swim, do not worry about it. Speaking of the speaker, this is where we hit the honesty gap. While the tracking is elite, the sound isn't. The ringtone on the SmartTag2 is high-pitched and pierces through quiet rooms, but it lacks volume. If this tag is buried deep inside a heavy leather backpack or under a thick sofa cushion and the TV is on, you are going to struggle to hear it. It is noticeably quieter than the AirTag. If you rely on audio cues more than the visual compass, this is a distinct disadvantage. Another annoyance, the fragmentation of Android. Google recently launched their own Find My Device network. You would think, since Samsung is Android, they would play nice together. They do not. The SmartTag2 lives inside the Samsung walled garden. It does not communicate with Google's billion-device network. It only talks to Samsung devices. If you switch from a Samsung phone to a Pixel or a OnePlus next year, this tag becomes a paperweight. You cannot transfer it. You cannot track it. Or locked in. This is a strategic move by Samsung to keep you buying Galaxy phones, and you need to be okay with that commitment. Now, let's do the killer comparison. Versus the Apple AirTag. The SmartTag2 has a better form factor, no dongle needed, a programmable smart button, and equal network reliability in cities. The AirTag is louder and has a slightly more polished UI, but the SmartTag2 offers more utility for the price. Versus Tile, it's a massacre. Tile requires a paid subscription for features that Samsung gives you for free, like Left Behind alerts. Tile's network is shrinking as people move to system-level trackers. Do not buy a Tile in 2024 unless you have no other choice. Versus Chipolo Pebblebee Google Network. This is the tricky one. Those trackers work on all Android phones. But right now, the Google network is still rolling out and feels buggy. Samsung's network is mature, reliable, and battle-tested. Today, the SmartTag2 is the better product, but that gap might close next year. So, what is the verdict? If you have a Samsung phone, buy this immediately. Buy a 4-pack. Put one on your keys, one in your car, one in your luggage, and one on your pet. It is the most feature-rich, reliable, and durable tracker on the market. It effectively eliminates the anxiety of losing your valuables. However, if you are the type of person who switches between Android brands, or if you are waiting for the universal Google network to mature hold your wallet, you are buying into a closed ecosystem. But for the Galaxy faithful, this is the upgrade we have been waiting for. It's smarter, tougher, and finally designed like a tool rather than a toy. Go get it.